That night, Christian couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned in bed for a long time, thinking about his beloved wife, who had passed away exactly a year ago, and then decided to go down to the kitchen for a drink of water, trying to not make any noise so as not to wake his son Kevin and his wife and their children. He walked past their bedrooms. Rocky, the family's Yorkshire Terrier, heard the man's footsteps and ran out to meet him, spinning around the old man's feet. Christian patted the bed. "What, Rocky? You can sleep either. Do you want to go for a walk?" The pet looked at his master expectantly. He scratched behind his ear. "Well, let's go and get some air," Christian said, and the dog ran happily to the door. The man fastened the leash to the collar and opened the front door almost silently. A quiet night descended on the city. The sky was studded with stars. Christian breathed fully, enjoying the silence and the coolness. Suddenly, Rocky snatched the lash from his hand and raced toward the park. "Where are you going? Stop! Come here!" Christian shouted at him, but the dog was racing down the road. The old man hurried after him. He was afraid of losing the dog, for the children loved their Yorkshire Terriers so much. Christian was out of breath. When he lost sight of Rocky, he leaned against a tree to rest and called out loudly, "Rocky! Rocky! Where are you? Come to me, boy!" The dog was nowhere to be seen. The man continued calling for his pet as he slowly wandered through the park. He was very frustrated, realizing that he was unlikely to find Rocky. "Who's that walking around in the middle of the night?" He heard a man's voice. "Look who we got our hands on tonight, buddy." "Huh? This poor guy must have what we need." In front of Christian appeared two stout, tipsy guys. They grinned at the old man. "Are you going to empty the pockets yourself? Or do you need help?" One of the guys asked. "Come on, guys, I'm going to call for help," Christian said fearfully, but his words only made the bandits harder. "Call. At this time of night, the whole town will come to you." They laughed. "Look, he's got an expensive watch. Give me a blink," said one of the boys threateningly, grabbing the old man by the arm. "Don't touch it. It's a gift from my son." Christian tried to pull his hand away, but was immediately hit hard in the face and fell to the ground. The bandits kicked and punched him. The man fell, his nose bleeding. The last blow to the head, which was delivered by one of the guys, was very strong. Christian groaned and lost consciousness. The old man woke up in the morning when the sun was already brightly illuminating the park. "Where I am," he thought, trying to get up. His whole body ached from the beating, and his head buzzes as if a swarm of bees had settled in it. Christian walked slowly down the path without thinking where he was going. He didn't remember anything and didn't realize where he was. When he came to a small lake, he leaned over the water. He was very thirsty. The old man scooped water from the lake with his hand and brought it to his mouth, swallowing greedily. He washed his face and looked around. Christian didn't have the strength to go anywhere, and he didn't know which way to go. The man had spent the entire day in the park, wandering between the trees. Some people came across him, but Christian didn't know them. When he was hungry, he came to a small cafe when there were customers sitting at the table outside. The old man felt his stomach rumble. "Excuse me, please," he said, walking over to one of the tables where the young men were sitting. "Could you buy me a burger and coffee? I just don't have any money." "Get out of here, old man, before you get your ass kicked. Don't stop normal people from having lunch." Here the answer to his request. Then Christian approached the waiter and made the same request. Looking at the old man's tattered, dirty clothes, the guy said, "Get out of here before security is called." "But I'm very hungry. Have pity, give me something to eat." "Look, there is a garbage can behind, where we dump the food that the customers didn't get enough of. Go and see if you can find something to eat. And don't you dawdle around here." The old man wandered into the backyard to the dumpster. The dumpster was full of waste. Some of it was eatable, and Christian was able to satisfy his hunger. As the sun set over the horizon, He headed to the lake where he spent the night, falling asleep right on the grass. When Christian woke up in the morning, he found a small dog beside him. A Yorkshire Terrier had nestled into his face and was licking his face with its rough tongue. "Who are you, my friend?" the old man asked, stroking the dog. "Where are your masters? Or don't you remember anything either? Don't know where you live?" The dog looked faithfully into the old man's eyes. "Well, we will live together on the shore of this lake," Christian thought. He got up and wandered to the lake to wash up, and then together with the dog he headed towards the cafe, where he hoped to find some food at the dump again. Finding an uneaten meatball among the refuse, he thought for a minute, then broke off half of it and gave it to the puppy. "Eat, there's nothing else," Christian said to the terrier. The old man dug into the tank some more, but there was nothing eatable in it. At the early morning, he was about to go back to the lake shore when suddenly he heard, "Uncle, this is our garbage can. We find food in it." Two boys were standing in front of him. "I'm sorry, guys. It's just that this shaggy friend and I are very hungry," apologized the old man. "What a good-looking dog. Larry, let's find some food for him," exclaimed the older boy. The younger brother readily agreed. They dived into the garbage can and found some sausages. The puppy ate it eagerly, and the boys dug through the trash with surprising persistence, pulling out leftover plastic-wrapped fries, some grilled vegetables, and even buns. Christian watched the boys. "How did you manage to get so much food?" he marveled as the boys ate their finds. "We're here every day. You will find more food in the evening," said the boy named Laurie. "Don't your parents feed you?" Christian asked. "We have only our mother, and she's sick, so we have to get food from the garbage and back at the mall." "Don't you have any money either?" Laurie asked the old man. "Unfortunately, no." "Where do you live? Where's your house?" asked the boy. "I don't know." "So you're homeless?" "I guess so. I sleep on the shore of the lake and I took for food here in the garbage." The boys looked at each other. They lived nearby in a small dilapidated house. The brother's mother was very ill and could not work, so the boys survived as best they could. They spent most of their time on the street looking for food. Sometimes they managed to get money, which was given to them by kind people, but most often they returned home with food obtained from the garbage dump. "Let's go to our house," the brother suggested. "We will introduce you to our mother, and you can wash your face. And we will take the dog. He's so cute." Christian agreed and followed his brothers. When the boys took him to their house, he was amazed at how poor it was. There wasn't even a television, and the boys slept on an old sofa. "Who did you bring?" their mother asked them as she got out of bed. "It's a poor lonely man," Laurie told her. "He has no place to live, and he sleeps at the lake. Let him stay with us." "My name is Cindy." The woman walked up to the old man and held out her hand to him, looking at him with interest. "And you?" "I don't remember my name. I'm sorry. I must have gotten a memory problem after I was beaten up by bandits in the park." "Well, come in," Cindy said. "Since you're in such trouble, we'll take you in." "Thank you." "Don't thank me. You can leave a man behind, no matter who he is. But as you can see, we are poor ourselves. My children, Laurie and Mateo, are the only thing that saves us. If it weren't for them, we'd all starve to death. In the meantime, take off your jacket. I will mend it." That's how Christian found himself in the house of Cindy and her children. Every day, the woman's children went to the mall, where they begged for alms from passers-by. Today was a good day, but I was sad when he returned home one day. "Laurie and I managed to scrape together some money for food." The boy emptied his pockets of change and paper bills. "Well, let's go to the supermarket and buy everything for soup. I will make a nice lunch." Cindy was happy. When the children returned with the shopping, Christian volunteered to help Cindy. He peeled the potatoes and carrots and carefully cut them up. seeing how deftly the man handled the vegetables. Cindy said, "Maybe he used to be a cook." "I don't know," Christian replied. "Why don't we call you John until you get your memory back?" Cindy suggested. "Whatever you like." "Then we'll have to think of a name for the puppy too," Laurie exclaimed. "We will call him Jack," said Mateo. "Good. Now everyone has a name. Wash your hands and sit down for lunch," said the woman. For a whole month, Christian, whom the residents of Cindy's house began to call John, lived with the kind, sick woman and her children. Cindy told him that they had not always lived so poorly and had once worked as a nurse in a hospital. And the boys had a father. But after her husband died, Cindy had a hard time, working hard to feed the boys and losing her health. "I want to give them everything the other kids had. They were teased at school for their poor clothes, and when other kids found out the boys were begging at the mall, they even beat my sons. That's very cruel," Christian sighed. "I too got beaten up by those thugs in the park." "How did you end up there anyway?" Cynthia asked. "I don't know, but for some reason I felt like that the dog has always been with me. That is from my own life. Maybe. Where is she, by the way?" said the woman thoughtfully. "The boys took her to the mall," Christian smiled. "Yes, they love Jack so much. I didn't realize they needed a dog. They were attached to her. And I've gotten attached to you and your sons," said the man. "They are wonderful. They are like my own family. And you are very kind. It's probably I'd be living on the streets if I weren't be your boys." Cindy looked at him. Tears of gratitude appeared in the old man's eyes. "Calm down," the woman stroked his arm. "You and I even better now." Christian helped Cindy around the house. They did chores together. He even made a small shelf for the children to put their things on. And in his spare time, he read books to them. Still, he wanted very much to remember his past. It was his ultimate dream, but the memory never came back. One day, Mateo and Laurie, as usual, were asking passers-by for money at the entrance of the mall. At their feet was a Yorkshire Terrier. "Uncle, give us some money. We are hungry and our mother is sick at home," said Laurie, giving a pitying look to a tall man who was walking toward them with 2 children, a boy and a girl. The stranger slipped his hand into his jacket pocket and pulled out a wallet. "Here," he handed the bill to Laurie. "Daddy, look, it's our Rocky!" the girl exclaimed when she saw the dog. "Rocky, Rocky, come to me!" "It's not Rocky," Laurie frowned. "It's Jack, and it's my brothers and my dog. Come on, Julia. There aren't many dogs that look alike," the father said to the girl. "Daddy, it's definitely Rocky, and his collar and leash." The boy sat down next to the puppy and stroked him behind the ear. "It's Jack," Laurie exclaimed, grabbing the puppy in his arms. "Boy, tell me, where did you get this dog?" the man asked, looking at the puppy closely. He did look a lot like their favorite, who had disappeared the same time his father had disappeared. "It's the dog of a man who lived in our house," Laurie answered reluctantly. "What man?" The man squinted at the poorly dressed boy. "His name is John." "I see." When the man heard the unfamiliar name, he thought the dog looked just like their Rocky and called out to the children. "Come on, that's not our Rocky." "I'm telling you, it's not Rocky, it's Jack," Larry persisted. "I'm sorry, boy, my kids just made a mistake." "It happens." The father went to the entrance of the mall, and the upset children reluctantly followed him. At dinner that evening, Julia told her mother that they had seen their dog at the mall, but her father said it wasn't Rocky. Kevin himself couldn't shake the strange feeling all day, but Yorkshire Terrier are all very similar, so he just brushed it off. The kids were wrong. For over a month now, he had been doing everything he could to find his father, who had disappeared one night. Despite the fact that he had great connections and opportunities, the search yielded nothing. Every day TV spots with a picture of the missing man were played, with no one responded. The father disappeared without a trace, as did their pet. Dad's probably not alive anymore, Kevin thought sadly. Mom, it was definitely our Rocky, Julie insisted. Why don't you ask the boys? She asked Kevin. Why did they have a dog? She'll have made sure it wasn't Rocky. Kevin wondered. He wished he'd gotten all the information from the beggars. All right, tomorrow I will go to the mall and ask them a few questions, the man said. The next day, Kevin drove to the place where he had seen the boys with the dog the day before. He looked around, but the little beggars were nowhere to be seen. Damn it, where the hell did they go? Thought the man. He entered the mall and approached the security guard. Listen, buddy, do you know the boys who asked for money at the entrance? I saw them yesterday, but today they're gone. Of course I know them, the guard answered eagerly, recognizing the man as the mayor of the city. That's Mateo and his younger brother Lori, local beggars. They hang around here almost every day. Really? Every day? Kevin asked. Yeah, you know, I feel sorry for them. The boys come from poor families and sometimes they have nothing to eat. Do you happen to know where they can be found? I don't know the exact address. It's a block away. It's a little house. If you go there, you can't go wrong. Thanks, buddy. You've been a big help, Kevin said, feeling his heart racing for some reason. The man got into the car and drove in the direction indicated by the mall security guard. He tried to find the house where the boys lived. In the poor neighborhood, passers-by looked at the mayor's expensive car in surprise, wondering what he possibly need here. But they were even more surprised when the mayor pulled up outside Cindy's house. This poor sick woman and her sons were known to almost everyone in the neighborhood. No one understood why a high-ranking official might need her. Cindy saw the expensive car that stopped outside her house. Joan? Who else is that here to see us? She asked Christian, and he looked out the window as well. Christian and Cindy were surprised to see Kevin enter their house, and the boy's mouth dropped open as he recognized the man who had given them the paper bill yesterday. Father, Kevin exclaimed, recognizing his missing father immediately. He rushed to the old man, hugged him, and kept looking at his face. I didn't expect to find you alive anymore. Why did you disappear? Why didn't you respond to the search? Christian looked at his son and, like in some movie, vague images appeared in his mind. There is the big house he lives in, and there is his son and his wife and 2 grandchildren. It's night. He is walking through the park looking for his Rocky. And then there are bandits and darkness. Kevin, is that you? Christian asked quietly. Cindy, that's my son. I remember everything. Your son is the mayor of the city, John? Asked a surprised Cindy. John? No, my real name is Christian. The elderly father smiled happily. Cindy invited Kevin to sit down, hastily brushed the crumbs off the table when they had just recently had lunch together. Christian told his son everything that had happened to him, and how the dog had run away, and how the bandits had attacked him and stolen his expensive watch, and how the 2 boys in the garbage dump had invited him to live in their house. You're very kind people, Kevin said. You have no idea how kind they've been to me. They're having a hard time themselves, but they took me in and shared their food with me. We must thank them, Christian exclaimed. The boys are begging to find money for groceries, and Cindy's very seriously ill. Kevin thought for a moment. He looked around, noticing the very poor conditions in the house. Had his father been living with this poor family for over a month? They don't have much room here themselves. A month passed. There was a festive and joyful atmosphere in the mayor's house. Kevin's wife sat at the table and Julia helped her set the dishes. Where's your brother? The mother asked her daughter. He's with Laura and Mateo at the gate. They want to be the first to meet Daddy when he and Grandpa bring Aunt Cindy, the girl replied. They're coming. They're coming, the boys shouted from the yard. Kevin got out of the car. followed by his father. Christian opened the car door and helped Cindy out. For a month, the sick woman had been treated in the best clinic in town, where the mayor had arranged for her. Kevin had paid for her treatment to thank her for taking in his father, who had lost his memory. And the day before, they had all decided together that after she was discharged from the hospital, Cindy and the children will stay in their home. Such good people should not go hungry and live in poverty. Let them live in our bay house, said the man. All the family members supported his decision.